Saint Andrew the Apostle, or simply Saint Andrew, was Jesus Christ's first disciple. He preached the teachings of Jesus around the globe, before being crucified in Greece on 30th of November, 60 AD. Saint Andrew is commonly associated with Scotland. Andrew died by crucifixion on an X-shaped cross, which is now represented by the white cross of the Scottish flag. But the saint's significance stretches far beyond Scottish shores. People from many places all over the world hold Saint Andrew in the highest regard because of his teachings and endeavors. He is the patron saint of 6 countries and several cities. And yet, despite featuring prominently in the Bible, relatively little is known about him. In light of that, Gregorian Biblical Academy offers 10 little-known facts about Saint Andrew's life and legacy. Saint Andrew was born between 5 and 10 AD in Bethsaida in Galilee, in what is now Israel. He was the son of Jonah, and his brother, Simon Peter, would later become Saint Peter. Throughout his life, Saint Andrew traveled far and wide preaching the teachings of Jesus. The influence of Saint Andrew endured long after his death. For this reason, many places have a personal connection with Saint Andrew and claim him as their patron saint. 2. He was Jesus' first disciple. Andrew and his brother Simon Peter were the first of Jesus' 12 disciples. They are said to have immediately followed Jesus when he stated, "Come after me, and I will make you fishers of men." The Byzantine Church honors Andrew with the Greek name Protokletos, which means the first called. Andrew remained one of Jesus' closest disciples, perhaps most memorably spotting the boy with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish before Jesus fed the 5,000. 3. He was crucified on an X-shaped cross. Long after Jesus was crucified, Andrew continued to advance his teachings, instilling even Maximilla, the wife of Roman proconsul Egas, with an interest in Christian teachings. Egas ordered Andrew to be crucified. Believing himself to be unworthy of the same fate as Jesus, Andrew requested an X-shaped cross. This is represented by the saltires which feature prominently on flags, such as Scotland's, that acknowledge Saint Andrew. 4. Saint Andrew is not just Scotland's patron saint. Many different locations have felt blessed with Andrew's presence. For that reason, he is the patron saint of many places, including 6 countries such as Barbados, Romania, Russia, Scotland, Spain and Ukraine, and various cities such as Amalfi, Pienza, Sarzanar, Lipaa, Paranaque and Patras. Saint Andrew is also the patron saint of fishermen, singers and pregnant women, and is believed to offer protection against sore throats and gout. His remains were repeatedly moved. Andrew preached Jesus' teachings far and wide. After his death, his remains were transported further and wider. Around 357 AD, Roman Emperor Constantius II ordered Andrew's remains to be moved from Patras to Constantinople, now Istanbul. In 1208, Cardinal Peter of Capua took the remains to his native Amalfi. While another story suggests a Greek monk named Regulus brought some of Andrew's remains to Scotland, it is more likely that the Bishop Acker of Hexham, a renowned collector of religious relics, purchased them in 732 AD. 6. St. Andrew's Cathedral in Fife became a pilgrimage site for the saint. The apparent presence of relics of St. Andrew, a tooth, kneecap, arm and finger, in Scotland saw St. Andrew's Cathedral in Fife become a popular site of medieval pilgrimage. This was until the 16th century, when it fell into disrepair because Catholic Mass was outlawed during the Scottish Reformation. In 1770, the Archbishop of Amalfi sent a piece of St. Andrew's shoulder blade to Scotland, and in 1969 Pope Paul VI gifted Cardinal Gordon Gray part of the saint's skull. The relics are displayed at St. Andrew's altar in the Metropolitan Cathedral of St. Mary in Edinburgh. 7. St. Andrew inspired a Scottish tribe. Another connection between Scotland and St. Andrew reportedly occurred when King Angus led his army of Picts and Scots against Athelstan's Saxons in modern-day East Lothian. Outnumbered and pessimistic, Angus prayed for help, vowing to make St. Andrew patron saint of Scotland if his army was victorious. On the morning of battle, clouds formed in a saltire shape in the sky. This perceived divine intervention inspired the picked Scot army, overcame their enemy and killed Athelstan. Angus is then said to have honored his vow. 8. St. Andrew is intrinsically linked to Scotland's independence. The formalisation of St. Andrew as Scotland's patron saint followed from the 1320 Declaration of Arbroath, written by Scottish barons to Pope John XXII, who had excommunicated Robert the Bruce. The letter is both a declaration of Scotland's independence from England and a commitment to Christ. The letter states the belief that the most gentle St. Andrew would keep Scots under his protection as their patron forever. Andrew's brother, being St. Peter, the leader of the Roman Catholic Church, held huge sway over Pope John XXII. 9. St. Andrew's Scottish iconography predates the national flag. St. Andrew was commonly depicted in Scottish iconography long before the country's national flag was created in his honour. He was featured on official seals from 1180 onwards. Notably, the seals of the Guardians of Scotland ruled over the country in the absence of a king during the Scottish Wars of Independence. Just under a century later, the Parliament of Scotland insisted Scottish soldiers should distinguish themselves with a white saltire on a blue background. Since then, this has been Scotland's national flag. 10. St. Andrew's Day originated in the USA. A day dedicated to St. Andrew was only established in the mid-18th century, and surprisingly it was neither instigated in Scotland nor any other place who claimed St. Andrew as their patron saint. In 1729, a group of wealthy Scottish expats set up the St. Andrew's Society of Charleston in South Carolina, USA, and celebrated St. Andrew's Day on the 30th of November, the anniversary of his crucifixion. The St. Andrew's Society of the State of New York then helped popularize the day from 1756 onwards.